The billionaire spoke only in Chinese, and everyone was silent until the black maid replied. The air in the boardroom was thick with tension. Ariel could feel it pressing down on her chest as she quietly entered with a tray of tea. The polished mahogany table stretched out before her like a battlefield, and seated around it were men in sharp suits, their expressions tight and anxious. At the head of the table stood Mr. Li Chen, the billionaire CEO of Xiang Corporation. His presence filled the room like a storm waiting to break. He was tall, lean, and immaculate in his tailored black suit, his hair slicked back without a strand out of place. But it wasn't his appearance that made everyone uneasy. It was the fact that he spoke only Mandarin. This meeting was crucial. A group of foreign investors had flown in to negotiate a deal that could save the company from financial collapse. But the interpreter they'd arranged weeks ago had failed to show up. The executives whispered nervously among themselves, their voices barely audible. "Where's the translator? He confirmed he'd be here." "I heard rumors. Maybe the rival company got to him." "Impossible. That would be sabotage." Ariel carefully set the tray down on the side table, trying to make herself invisible. She had been hired as a maid for the company only a week ago, and she knew her place. Clean the room. Serve the tea. Don't draw attention. But she couldn't help hearing every word, and she understood them. She understood more than they knew. Mr. Li's sharp voice cut through the murmurs. "Shijian Daola, time's up." The executives froze. None of them spoke Mandarin. That was the problem. "Sir," one of the men began hesitantly, "please give us just a moment. Our translator, Mei Shijianla, no more time." Mr. Li's tone was calm, but his eyes were like daggers. He began to speak rapidly in Chinese, his voice low but slicing through the air. "你们请了一个翻译，可是现在人在哪里？浪费我的时间。You hired a translator, but where is he? You're wasting my time." The executives shifted uncomfortably in their seats, glancing at one another helplessly. Ariel's heart pounded as she clutched her hands together. She shouldn't say anything. She wasn't supposed to speak. But if she didn't, this deal would implode right here. Mr. Li slammed his palm against the table, making several of the men flinch. "Xianzai bu shuohua jiu yongyuan bi zui. If you don't speak now, stay silent forever." Ariel felt her breath catch in her throat. She couldn't let this happen. She stepped forward. "Xiansheng, 我可以帮忙翻译." "Sir, I can help translate." The words came out before she could stop herself. Every head in the room turned toward her. The executives blinked in shock, as if seeing her for the first time. Mr. Li's cold gaze fixed on her, his dark eyes narrowing. "Ni hui shuo zhongwen? You speak Chinese?" Ariel felt her palms growing damp, but she forced herself to stand tall. "Yes," she replied in Mandarin, her pronunciation flawless. "I lived in Shenzhen for 5 years. I can translate if you'll allow me." The room went silent. Mr. Li studied her, his face unreadable. The executives stared, their eyes darting between Ariel and the billionaire like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Finally, Mr. Li gave a single, curt nod. "How ba, kai shi ba. All right, let's begin." Ariel exhaled softly, stepping closer to the table. She positioned herself between Mr. Li and the investors, her voice steady as she began translating his words into English. She translated each sentence with precision, her Mandarin carrying the right tones and inflections, her English clear and professional. The executives sat back, stunned.